Shalom. How's everyone doing? Whew. Another day. Another day. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna call these wrap-ups daily wrap-ups. At least until I can figure out something better to call them. Let's see. Oh, I got a guy next to me. Let me pull my curtain for a little bit of privacy. That way, you know, he's not on there. So, good day. 2 deliveries, and had the option to either go home or take a third trailer. And I was like, you know what? I just want to get this out of the way so I can be done a little bit earlier tomorrow, hopefully, as long as nothing else drastic happens. There's a couple things I want to talk about. One, had a close call today. Not sure if it was my fault or if it was the car driver being stupid. And like I said, I have no clue. Not perfect. First one to say that. Never been in an accident, never gotten a ticket, never had any, anything like that. I have a really clean, perfect DOT record, FMCA, whatever it is they score us by. Perfect score. But I was headed back to Topeka on 70 out of Kansas City. Technically out of Olathe. And there was a Swift truck in front of me driving really slow, like 50. The speed limit was 70. I was going 65 because that's what our trucks are governed at. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to get around this Swift truck because I don't really want to be driving 50 with them. And, I have a very relaxed cruise, attitude. I'm not trying to get there fast. Like, in trucking, you can't be trying to do everything fast because that's when you make mistakes. But I turned on my left turn signal, the little blinky thing, blink, blink, blink. And I looked at my mirrors. I checked my mirrors. I didn't see anyone next to me. So, I gradually, started getting over, and then all of a sudden I started hearing this honking. So I looked again real quick. I was like, what? And there was a car right up next to me. And so I, shifted back over into the right lane. And this car, after he had honked at me, and I had gotten back over into the right lane, decided that he was going to pull up next to me and give me the bird and scream something at me that I couldn't, his window was, I couldn't, I'm pretty sure it was some obscenity. And I tried to wave at him like, okay, cool, bro. Like, I didn't see you, we didn't collide, no issues, but, it was very much a road rage incident. And he kind of sped up a little bit and then slowed down, like, I don't know if he was going to try to brake check me or anything. So I had my foot hovering over the brakes just in case he tried to brake it. I mean, why anyone in their right mind would brake check a truck is beyond me, because you ain't going to win that one. But, now his car was unfortunately a charcoal gray color, and there was new asphalt on that section of 70. So it's very possible that I missed him. Like, I looked in the mirror and I just didn't catch him because his car really did blend in with the color of the asphalt. Like, I was like, dang, bro, there's a possibility I didn't see him. And if that's the case, I take full responsibility. My bad. But we didn't touch. There was no collision. And so I guess this is a PSA more than anything else. Our trucks have cameras all over them, so I asked, onus on me, I didn't have to say anything about it, but I want to know, because I care about professional driving. I want to know. If it was my fault, I want to know. And so I asked one of our guys in the office, I was like, hey, can you review the camera footage for this time frame I just want to make sure that wasn't me. Like, I did it because, driver fatigue is real. This is something that, not a lot of drivers are willing to admit, but when you spend all day, 11 hours on the road, day in and day out, driver fatigue is real. And, you start doing things like you check your mirrors, you watch your speed, and those things just kind of become second nature, and sometimes you miss things. And so, onus on me. I want to make sure that wasn't me. But I asked by coincidence, there was another truck in front of me, same company, and she was going to the same place because we're on the same account. And so I saw her, and I asked her, I was like, hey, did you see what happened back there on 70? And she was like, yeah. She said, I saw you coming over, and I didn't, and then I saw you get back over again. I was like, did you see that car that sped past? And she was like, I saw him speed past me, like really fast. And I was like, was he besides me? Did you notice? And she's like, well, I didn't see him beside you when you started coming over. So, but she also said she wasn't really looking. I mean, obviously she was looking forward. So, I mean, we see things in our mirrors, but I mean, it wasn't her area of fixation at that moment. So it's very possible that it was just a situation where he tried to speed around me when he saw I was coming over into the left lane, which that does happen too. I've had a number of cars try to shoot the gap, and that's a scary thing sometimes when a car doesn't want to wait on a truck and they try to shoot the gap. So full transparency, it was a close call. I'm glad there was no incident, and I do want to know, so hopefully my safety team will get back to me and be like, yo bro, that was either not you or that was you. And I could have just said nothing about it and just, kept on motoring on, and they probably would have, if it was me, I'll probably get a talking to at some point. But no collision, right? And at least one of the things I like to talk about is integrity. Have integrity in the things you do, because people notice that. So that was one thing I wanted to hit. The other thing I wanted to hit, just kind of what's been going on. Apparently there was another shooting today at an ice facility, and some people got killed. Obviously by a militant leftist again. And I've hammered this on a couple other things I've talked about. I've talked with people, in my circles that I know, and it's becoming very apparent. And I hate this so much. It's not where we need to be as a country, but to be honest, I don't think we're really a country anymore. Like, we still have the semblance of law, we still have the semblance of government, but the left, the extreme left, the far left, and even the mainstream left, they are splitting off. They are splitting off, from us. From the country. They what's the example? A lot of times you hear them at these protests or these rallies, they say, protect our democracy. And then they turn to the right and then they call us fascists. Well, when they say our democracy, they're not saying protect the democracy of the republic. They're talking about their specific ideologies. When they call us fascists, those are fighting words. They call us Nazis and fascists. Those are words that basically, we all know what that means when you call someone a Nazi. The general colloquial consensus is if someone's a Nazi, you get rid of them, you kill them, or you ban them from society. And, I myself, to my knowledge, have not been called a Nazi yet. But I'm pretty sure if I would go to more of these, protests and wear a MAGA hat, I would be called a Nazi. And I'm at the point where don't be where the problem is. You know, don't be where the problem is. There's a lot of truth for, like, you know, if you're not where the problem is, you're not going to be, you know, involved in it. But the issue is, like, we have been on the right, on the conservative side, we have been saying for a while now, you know, we want to do this the right way. We want to use the systems in place. We want to use the vote and everything, and we want to, you know, we want to do this the right way. And the left is making it very, very obvious that they're not willing to do it the right way anymore. They, you know, they've fully bought into the only truth is, you know, the only truth is power. And I'm afraid that unless we actually wake up to this fact that they are no longer, like, our Constitution only works, the framework of our government only works if you have people who want to be in it, if you have people who are willing to play along with it. You know, you can't have a force of people that are diametrically opposed to the Constitution and give them the ability to vote, give them the ability to, you know, to have a say in our government. You know, and I hate it because it sounds authoritarian, but they're willing to kill. They're willing to kill us because they lost the election. They're willing to threaten our family and our way of life because they're not getting their way. Like impotent children and toddlers, you know, banging on the floor and throwing a massive fit. You know, it was crazy to me. Like, you know, the sad thing is I knew it was going to happen. Trump comes out with RFK and a bunch of doctors and says, hey, we have these studies in hand that shows that there's a link between Tylenol and autism. This is not the administration saying this. This is Harvard. This is Yale. These are institutions of higher learning that have done these studies and say, hey, there is a link between Tylenol and child autism. And being the parent of a high-functioning autistic child and knowing that my wife actually did take Tylenol during her first pregnancy, you know, knowing that my wife took Tylenol throughout all of our pregnancies, that bothers me. And the fact that this study's come out and Trump says, hey, we have this information. You know, RFK says we have the information. It was suppressed, but we're bringing it out. And the very next day, you have videos. You have videos the very next day of real people, real pregnant women on the left chugging the maximum dose of Tylenol to prove Trump wrong. The amount of TDS out there is insane. And the fact that people would literally run to the store, buy Tylenol, and do that while they're pregnant, and even Tylenol had to come out. Tylenol, the brand Tylenol, had to come out and says, we don't recommend anyone take our product during pregnancy. They had to come out and say that on their own, you know, their own X page, whatever, you know, Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days. Honestly, Elon should have just kept the name Twitter and just called it Twitter X. You know, so just because everyone says Twitter still, so I don't know. But it's insane. We live in a clown world. We live in a world where one side of the political spectrum is going to do anything. Like, honestly, I was kind of joking about it with my friend earlier, but I said, you know what? Trump should just come out and say the opposite of what he wants. Like, he should say, well, everybody should take Tylenol. It's the best. I heard it's the best. I mean, I don't personally take it, but everyone should take it. And then they would do the opposite. They would stop taking Tylenol. They'd be like, oh, Trump said take Tylenol, so we're not going to take Tylenol. I mean, come on, people. Like, it's ridiculous to me. I don't understand. Anyways, this is supposed to be a wrap-up, so they're not supposed to be very long. I will do Proverbs 24 This morning I actually slept in. I blew past. I vaguely remember hitting my alarm on my phone, and then thank God that my wife called me when, at 8 o'clock in the morning, because I would have probably slept until 9. I was so tired. I don't know what it is this week. I think it's just I've been working really long days. Like some weeks I don't work as much. Like I do work, but I don't work as much because the runs are shorter or there's more time down. I don't know. It's not. I think actually what it is it's not consistent. I've had some consistent runs where it's very consistent on, like I end at this time, I start at this time, and I basically do that every day, and there's a consistency to it. But this week it hasn't been consistent. It's been all to the wall. Basically some drivers have been calling out this week, and so I've been picking up the slack. Yay me. Using my full clock and not getting to be home as much. And then gonna celebrate Sukkot this at the end of this week. I know it's supposed to be a full week, but I couldn't justify taking a full week off. We're not there yet. Someday I will be able to justify taking a full week off, and I get it. The Father's Days are important, and we're doing the best we can, and I believe that that's all we can do is the best we can. And so one day I pray that everyone will keep Sukkot, and that we'll all be able to have those days off, because it'll just be, that's the problem I feel like when you live in a secular society is you want to have, the Father's Days off. You want to observe the days that Yah gives to you. And it was a fight for me even to get Shabbat off on a consistent basis. And I'm glad I did. I thought I was going to take a big loss of, pay, and I did for like a few weeks, and then all of a sudden that money came back. So there was faith, and Yah's blessed us for making that decision, but it's a struggle. But we're gonna do Sukkot as a family for the first time, like ever, because in the past, when we were first coming to this understanding of Torah and understanding of the Father's will, Corinne was in the military, and she couldn't just take a whole week off of work from the Navy, so we had to work around it. We did what we could, but this year we're actually going to try our best to do as much of Sukkot as we can. I was kind of mad at myself. I knew trumpets was this week, and I was like, I should bring my shofar so I can blow it, even though I'm not going to be home, I can still blow my shofar. And I totally just spaced and forgot to grab it. And, I was like, dang it. So I was just like, yeah, okay, I know. Terrible. All right, I'm gonna do Proverbs and then upload, and yeah. Catch you guys later. Shalom.